Kelly Clement here from MetaStock. In this video, I am very excited to introduce you to MetaStock 18. MetaStock 18 is our latest, greatest, and of course, best version of MetaStock. As we go through this presentation, I'll be showing you a lot of the new features that we've included inside of MetaStock 18. Some of the things that we've put in are a new next level charting ability. We've put in systems and strategies into Optionscope, so you can now plot risk. You can look for the top options. You can see option sentiment. You can see we have a whole list of new systems and strategies that we've included. We also have new ways to navigate around the software that are going to make your life a lot easier. We've put in a lot of these features around user requests, what people are looking for in MetaStock. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into MetaStock, show you some of these new features and how they can help you in your trading. Now, the very first thing, of course, we always have to do in a MetaStock presentation is just go through a quick disclaimer. So we'll just go ahead and read this and then jump right into the presentation. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins and is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So I'm not here to tell you what to buy or sell. What I am here to do today is to show you these awesome new features inside MetaStock, how they work, and how you can actually use them in your day-to-day analysis. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And let's talk about some of these new features that we have put into the software. So the first thing, as I mentioned, is our new next level charting. So we have added in some awesome new charting capabilities, some charting styles, indicator updates, and also drawing tool updates. So all these encompass our new charting object, as we call it inside of MetaStock, that will help you better be able to customize the chart the way that you would like to see it. Inside the Power Console, we've put in some new search and favorite functions. Optionscope, as I mentioned, new risk graphs, put call ratios, top options, top volume is also in there. We've got Quote Center, new gainers, losers bars, the ease of use features, and some new systems and strategies. So we're going to cover all that through today's presentation. But let's go ahead and start with that awesome new chart. So let's go ahead and talk about what's in there. So first of all, we've got the charting styles. We are now doing theming as color-based, so you can change theme very easily and quickly. The customization abilities in the indicators, the new scroll function, drawing tools, and chart usability. So let's jump right in here and let's talk about this. Let's first of all talk about the charting styles. Here are the charting styles that are included inside of MetaStock 18. We have bars, candlesticks, CandleVolumes, EquiVolume. This is a big one that we've had people really coming and asking us for, is the Heiken-Ashi charting style. This is brand new inside MetaStock 18. And then we have line, step line, dot, histogram, stepped filled line, and filled line. But let's go into MetaStock and show you these features and kind of how you can customize them, because there is a lot of customization now that you can do with these charting styles. So let's just open the DAO. And the first thing you may notice if you're a longtime MetaStock user is that these candlesticks are filled. And this is not something that you had the ability to do previously without using an expert advisor. So now this is a native feature inside of MetaStock 18, where you can customize your fill colors if you want them filled. If you don't, if you prefer traditional candles, that's all still available as part of the software. So let's go in and show you some of the customization techniques here. So what we do is just double click right on anything that you want to edit inside MetaStock. And you'll see the price style here I have as candlesticks. Now, when I have this set up, you can change, as you always have been able to, your up color and down color. But what's new is the up fill and down fill. So if you want to change your down fill color, you can come in here and play with RGB colors if you want to get very advanced. You can also change your transparency. So you can kind of see a preview of that there. And you can see it getting lighter and darker. So that's all customizable now. So whenever I hit apply, you would see the chart go lighter or darker based off of what I've selected there. You can also choose whether you want to calculate close to close, open to close, or you could say always fill or close less than open, which would be more your traditional candlestick. So you can see when I change it, I have more of a traditional candlestick available there. And you can see that my colors there went much lighter because I had set my transparency to lower. But let's go back to always fill, and you'll see that come in here. Any of the charting styles have these different customization techniques based off of what's built in, how they should be used. So if I go into, say, Heiken-Ashi, you can see my settings might be a little different, and if I choose apply, it will change me to a Heiken-Ashi chart. In line, if I click on line, you can see now I have all these different options for different line charting styles as well. So if I wanted a step filled line, I could fill it that way, and it will chart this way. So you can see there's a lot of customizations that you can do here. I'm not going to go through all of them in this video. We have some great new training videos that you'll be able to go through to show you how to do this. But this is one of the big features, is that ability to customize your charting styles. Okay, so if we go back here, we also have new themes. So this is what I was talking about, where you could change colors quickly rather than trying to do them individually and match colors. It's kind of a cumbersome process in MetaStock up until this point. And now we have all these new built-in themes for you to be able to use. So let's go back into MetaStock here. And let's just change this to a candlestick. And I'm going to move my picture over here because the theme button is down over in this corner. So down here, you'll see this new button, and it looks like a little paint palette. If I click this, you can see I have a number of these different themes clicked in. So if I choose black steel, for example, it will change the theme, x-axis, y-axis, everything to this new theme color. If I were to go to electric, you'd see it would go to this electric color. And what's cool about the themes are they will change the colors of what you have on your screen to visually match the color of the theme. So everything kind of adapts automatically to it. So if you had a lot of different indicators on your chart, it would all adapt very quickly for you without any user interactions here. So we'll just do Chrome. So you can see you can have these gradient looks if you prefer the gradient looks, or just that classic dark mode background. All of that is now customizable with themes. So themes are really awesome. I'm really liking themes and what I can do with themes. And let's go on now to the scroll bar. Now the scroll bar is awesome because it gives you really a preview of what is going on your chart, both in the current area you're looking at and all the data that you have available in your chart when you're loading it. So let's go ahead and go back over to MetaStock, and let's look at the scroll bar. So we're going to put me up there because the scroll bar is down here. Now you see down here in the scroll bar, you have this kind of highlighted area. So that is the area I'm actually looking at on my chart, is this highlighted area. Now I can take this scroll bar and I can just click on it and I can zoom back, and you'll see my scroll bar is now matching what I am seeing on my chart. If I scroll forward here, of course, it zooms back in, and that's what I'm looking at currently. I can take this active area and I can just scroll along the chart, and it will just highlight where I am in the chart and what I'm looking at. So it makes navigating around that chart and looking at historical data a lot easier. One of the other cool features is if you want to look back here, let's say I wanted to see what happened in this big dip. If I click in the middle of that dip there, it will zoom back for me, and I am now centered in on where I clicked, so I can see that March 2020 dip in the Dow, which we all know was COVID, of course. So you can just click anywhere along the chart and it will zoom in for you, and you can scroll this back and forth however you want. Of course, the classic plus and minus still work in MetaStock, so if you prefer that mode of navigation, that is available to you as well. So some cool little enhancements to the scroll bar back there. Okay, so indicators, there's a lot of different things in indicators here. Of course, we're not going to go through and show you every little niggly thing that you can do because there's a lot as far as customization goes. But you can, let's plot a few and show you some of the features that you can do. Let's go back to MetaStock, and I'll just put me back down here. Okay, so first of all, if I do something like moving average, let's just plot it here. Now, classically in MetaStock, you had to kind of point where you wanted it to go. And now we have these smart indicators. If I just drag this and drop it wherever, it's going to know where it goes, but I can still point it at things specifically so it will auto go there. So here we have time periods. We'll just do 20 periods, simple. If I come over here to plot styles, you now have a lot more options with plot styles too. So if you change it to, say, a filled line, I will now be able to plot this moving average with a fill along with it. Or you could do a stepped filled, or you could do just a classic moving average, whatever you want to do. So that it's customizable there. If you like to look at zones when things are in and out of an indicator range, you can now plot that overlying fill bar is what I was going for. It will also now show you all the indicator values right here on the top of the bar, and you can also see the indicator values now over in the y-axis as well. Let's take off the moving average here for just a moment, and let's do Bollinger Bands, or an envelope are fine, but let's actually do Bollinger Bands. One of the things we've done with Bollinger Bands is people have asked us for that ability to fill between lines. So if I come in here now to color style, there's actually a few things you can do. You can color between the bands, but now you can also set the colors of your indicators all in one. So if you had the Bollinger Bands before, you had to click on each line to change the colors. Now it's all grouped into one central property box. So I could change my middle line, say, to green, and I have a fill here. I'll just go ahead and click OK. And you can see that just goes in and plots automatically now for me with that fill. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to do those fill indicators. Okay, let's go ahead and take that one off. Other indicator things. So for example, if I were to do MACD histogram, which is a new built-in indicator, people have been asking for this for a bit, the ability to just have a MACD histogram plottable. So if I just plot this anywhere and hit OK, it will plot that MACD histogram for me. And you noticed, again, it just created its own window automatically because it was smart enough to know that it needed its own window. You don't have to point it around. So it's a lot more intuitive as far as plotting indicators goes. We've also included built-in up-down volume, which you can calculate based off of close or volume. So that's built right in, and change your up-down colors as well very easily. Let's see if I missed anything there. Oh, indicators can be plotted as invisible. If you want a value in there, like say, for example, you don't want to see the middle Bollinger Band, you can make it invisible, so you don't have to look at that. The Ichimoku now plots into the future. So if I go back here and we find Ichimoku, and plot that on the chart. Again, everything is customizable per line, so you can go in and change that. You can also, again, turn them off. We'll go ahead and click OK, and you can see that the Senko A and B now plot into the future, which has been another big requested MetaStock feature as well. So let's go ahead and take off the Ichimoku there. And of course, last but not least, the P variable will display indicator values automatically. So what that means is, if you use formula language a lot inside MetaStock, when you plot an indicator and it needs a variable to plot, it will ask you up front rather than you having to go in and define it. It'll have a drop-down menu for you to select what it's calculating off of. So some great enhancements there as well. So that's indicator functionality and customization. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the drawing tools. Now, drawing tools are something that are very widely used inside of MetaStock. They're one of the big tools inside MetaStock that people use. So we've gone through and we looked at all the requests for what people want in drawing tools, and we've put those into MetaStock 18 to really help you as traders be able to have the tools that you want again. So the first one, trend line. Let's go in and look at trend line and show you what we've done there. Let's go ahead and just draw a trend line like we always have in MetaStock. We just drag between 2 points. And you can see I get my standard trend line. Now, if I double click on that again, double click to get to anything, there's a lot more parameters in here for the trend line than there have been historically. So you can add left and right arrows. So that is if you are pointing at something and want to make text, you can use it as an arrow pointing tool. You can also show a label now. So the label will give you the option to do performance info based off of percentage, number of points, and you can also show the number of bars. So let's just show you here. So that's a 3.69% move right there. Number of points is 12.5. And then you can also have it show the number of bars. So you can customize all of this. You can also put in your own custom label. So for example, if I wanted to say like, what a move, we can put that in there and that would show up in there as well. So if you're making notes for yourself, you can go in and do these custom labels. And you can also have it snap based off of period or price here as well. So make it a lot more robust. Now the cool thing is here, let's say that that's how you want it to show up every time. You don't want to have to go in and select these options every time. So you can now come in and click on defaults and then say save current page as default. And what that does is it retains what you've done for your settings. So these show label options, if I wanted the right arrow, left arrow, whatever. Okay, so if I click that, that would then, and I hit OK, that would then save it as my default. So I can just click that save all pages as default, and it's all defaulted there. You can also set a preferred color, whatever you want, and just save it as a default, which is awesome. Okay, so that is the trend line drawing tool. Some of the other enhancements inside of here, let's actually take the trend line tool off. And let's go to Fibonacci. So one of the things people have been asking for within Fibonacci is if I draw my Fibonacci on here, first of all, you'll see it shows my fib ratios and price. Those are both displayed right there. I can go into color style, and then I can add in my own. I can change the color of each line individually, which is not something you've been able to do in the past. So let's change a couple colors there. I've added in my own. Click apply, and you can see those colors change in the background there. And then again, I can save this so I don't have to do that every time. If you have preferred Fibonacci ratios or you want to take Fibonacci ratios out, I can delete them and then they're gone. If I mess up, I can do this restore defaults for all pages, and that does both color, style, and parameters for me. So it's pretty intuitive there. You can also now calculate on a logarithmic scale and do snap based off of price or period. So some great enhancements there. People have been asking us forever to make it so they can save their settings on trend lines. So hallelujah, right? Okay, so that is another great enhancement there. As we go through this, let's take Fibonacci off of there. All of these have some level of enhancements to them, some more than others based off of what's available in the trend line. So for example, if I were to do Andrew's pitchfork and plot this, I didn't plot it correctly, I just plotted it on the line, but if you go in here, this now has 3 different render types now. Instead of the standard, you also have standard, shift, and modified shift. You can also add warning lines. So if I want some additional lines or custom lines, you can add those in and it will expand the Andrew's pitchfork. So there's actually a lot more you can do now with Andrew's pitchfork as well. So again, all of these have some level of enhancements to them on how you can snap to price or percentage, but some more than others as you go through it. Another big one that we worked with Don Fishback on was this odds probability cone. Now the odds probability cone is one that usually has one zone of probability. And working with Don Fishback, he said he would like it so there were actually 2 different zones of probability. So now you have this 95% zone and 68.27% zone. And you can actually add in more if you want. So if I wanted that and a 25% and clicked apply, you can now see all these probability zones in here. So this is actually something that we worked with Don very carefully on. He approved it on what he wanted to see. And this is going to be one of the only platforms you can get this new enhanced odds probability cone in here. And another option is this new drift per period. So I could add in this drift, and you'll see it will give me this drift direction based off of the values in here. And there's some great help inside of MetaStock for this. Again, we don't have time to go into every tool and show you what it's capable of in this video, but so these are some of the new enhancements that we've done. So let's go ahead and restore the defaults for this page. And it jumps right back to normal. And again, you can always change your colors and styles in here as well. Let's see, change colors per line, save, and it looks like we got the easier to access text properties. So if you do a lot of text, it's easier to get to your properties now as part of this as well. The X and Y axis, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but some of the things that I do really like in here is if we double click on the axis, you can see some new customizations where you can kind of minimize all of this stuff. But we've also added in grid bands, and this is something I really like, is this grid band view. So if I go into both both X and Y axis, you can now see these grid bands, and these go off of increments. And you can see it measures up with $5 on this particular chart, and maybe $10. It kind of goes to this min-max volume area. And then this goes through a range of time as well. Over here on the Y-axis, you can now turn on and off indicator values. So let's just right-click here and go to Apply Template. And let's just say we went to popular volatility. Let's look at volatility here. So now you can see I have all my indicator values right on the right-hand corner there. If I want to turn that off, I can just right-click, and I can turn off price and indicator or whatever I want per window. Okay, so you can turn those on and off based off of what you want to look at. You can also change how you're seeing price displayed. You can use symbol definition, integer. You can set out a certain number of decimals or fractions depending on what you trade. So this is a customization for people who want to be able to change how they view price inside of MetaStock. So let's just change it to a decimal fraction here. And you can see it changes it to a fraction right there in that price plot. So let's go back here to use symbol definition. And there you go. Okay, so there's some cool new enhancements to the X and Y axis. Okay, so a few other things here that are really cool, and I really like these. Let's go back to MetaStock. Now down here, let's go back to our main chart. So down here, this is where you've always chosen to change your time frame. And you can change your time frame here. And you'll notice one thing is here, I have some new time frames. Well, these are my own time frames that I've selected. If I come in here and I create a custom time frame, so let's just say I want a 33-minute time frame, then the other thing appears. So I can see down here that I'm looking at a 33-minute right in the toolbar, as well as up here. So it gives you some good definition on where you're looking at the time frame. And then if I click in here again, you'll see now I have a 33-minute, a 75, and a 20. So what MetaStock will do is it will remember your 4 most recently used custom time frames. So if you have a specified time frame that you like to use, you can just quickly and easily switch between them now without having to do it. And what's great is it also sets that in the Power Console, in the exploration. So if you scan on custom timeframes or backtest on custom timeframes, that is all available right there for you. So it's all easy to use. So that is an overview of the enhancements in the charting system. And there's a lot of other little things throughout there. As you play with it, you'll see a lot of other little enhancements. Again, this is not the place to show you every little thing, but there's a lot in there. And again, we've listened to what users have been asking us for over the years and put these functionality into MetaStock based off of that feedback. So we're very excited about that new chart and what it gives you and the customization level it gives you as well. Now, our next thing we're going to talk about are Power Console updates. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here in the Power Console, but there's some very cool updates that you have in here now for navigating around. The first one here is in chart. You'll notice here you now have these new arrows that you can expand and contract these things. Once you set your settings, if you don't want to have to look at all that, you can just kind of minimize those settings out. But the first one is right here on the charting tab, besides what we just looked at. And that is the ability to search within folders for a stock, name, or symbol, or commodity, or whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's just say, for example, I'm looking for Apple. So if I type Apple, you'll notice my lists down here change. So what it's done is it's actually gone through the lists and looked for where Apple is. So I can see Apple's in the Dow Jones 30, it's in the NASDAQ 100, NASDAQ Composite, S&P 100, and then I can select it out of any folder that I want to. So it makes searching through lists a lot easier. So rather than opening up individual lists and going, oh, well, is Apple in this list? You can just find it right there, select it, and open it up. I can also do the same with symbols. So let's just say I was doing MSFT, and it'll just take me right to that list. And I can also see it's in the NASDAQ, optionable stocks, and the Mexican Stock Exchange, because it's traded there as well. So you can easily and quickly search through these lists to identify your symbols. Okay. Also, going to the Exploration tab, we now have these new favorite functions inside of here. So you can add to favorites, and it's now in a tab rather than a check mark up at the top that you have to expand and contract. So let's just say I wanted to add Elliott Waves Fast to my favorites. I right click, go to Add to Favorites. And now when I come into MetaStock, I can just jump right to my favorites tab instead of scrolling through and trying to find that particular scan every time. It's just right here in favorites. If I don't want something in favorites anymore, I can right click on it and remove it from favorites. And now this is my list of favorites. I had some favorites already set up on here, so these are included right there. So I could, if I select all, it just selects my favorites. If I'm over in this tab and I select all, then it would select everything. Okay, so that it makes it easier to find those explorations you're looking for. Now, to make it even easier to find explorations you're looking for, we've put in this new search function. In this search function, what you can actually do is just type in what you're looking for, and it will narrow down whichever side you're on. So if I was on favorites, which I am, it's looking in my favorites. If I go over to explorations, these are the explorations that contain MACD in them. If I just wanted ones that included the word volume, I could search, and these are all the scans that include the word volume. So it can make it really easy for you to quickly find a search that an exploration that you want by just typing it up. So if I start typing MOV for moving average, you can see these are all the scans that have move in it for moving average. We've also put that over here in System Tester, so you can have your favorites and also just quickly search for the system tests that match your search. So it makes it a lot easier to quickly find which ones you want. I've been playing with MetaStock for a while now, this MetaStock 18, and by far one of my top go-tos inside MetaStock now is that ability to just quickly search and find the information I'm looking for. So that's an awesome update right there. Okay, let's go to Optionscope. So Optionscope, what we've done, and some of these enhancements, whether you trade options or not, are actually great for you as a trader because it can give you a lot of this, it can help you identify sentiment of a particular security, as well as give you good option strategies for it. So we've put in this put call ratio for option sentiment. So what this does, it's a view of open interest or volume. Then we've included these option strategies inside of MetaStock 18. We've put in a top put call search, customized colors for the risk graphs, and share themes with Quote Center. So let's go ahead and go over to Optionscope. I'm just going to go to the Optionscope tab here, and let's open up Apple. Let's do expires within the next 90 days, and let's kind of hone this down just a little bit. So when Optionscope opens, if you've used Optionscope before, it does have a different look to it because we've put in some of these new enhancements and features into it. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So first of all, change-wise, your settings are now no longer this separate tab on the side. You just click up and down on this arrow right here, and you can turn things on and off from right here. The big one is if you change the settings here for the color, for the theme, it will also change it in Quote Center, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now going back up here, so again, we're looking at Apple, and right now what I'm looking at is just the March and April around 5% of the strike price. So what I can do now is I can look at this call put ratio. And what this does is it basically takes all the open interest of what I have open and zooms in on it right here and calculates it up. Open interest over here, and it gives me this view of open interest. Well, where is open interest? What side of the market is Apple on right now for open interest? Well, it's on the call side. So we have 166,000 open interest versus 127,000 open interest. So we can see a higher weighting over here. So our sentiment is more on the bullish side than it is on the put side, based off of open interest. Now, how can we confirm that? Well, we can confirm that with volume. So if I come up here to volume, we have 20,000 in call volume so far today. And then if I go to put, we have 12,000 on the put side. So our open interest is higher and our volume is higher. So we have this sentiment of bullish, right? So that's kind of how this option sentiment guide works and looking at it. And it's always going to do the options that you have open. So if I were to add in January and February, it would then sum those up as part of it as well. So we can see that whole picture over all of them. Now this top button over here will say, okay, I'm looking at volume. If I click top here, it will zoom in on my option that has the top volume for today. So you can see 7409 was my top volume, and that's both on the call and the put side. If I do top open interest, there's my top open interest. So volume and open interest were actually zoned in on the same option. It's the March 18th 180 call, and we are at 169 right now. So you can see kind of this zoom in feature allowing you to hone in on that top option versus based off of open interest and volume. In this case, happens to be the same. Now, let's say that we're interested in that option. Let's open this up just a little bit. Okay, and so that was the March 2nd, the March 2022 180 contract. So what we want to do is do some risk analysis on this particular option. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here into the new strategies inside of Optionscope. And you can see we have quite a number of different strategies pre-built in here. But let's just say I want to do a simple long call. So what I can do is select a long call, and if I hover over it, it's going to tell me what a long call is and some basic information about it and how to use it. So if I click long call and then expand this legs option, all I need to do is choose what option I'm interested in. So if I go again back up here to that 180 and click on it, let's move this up here for a moment so you can see what's going on here. And what it does now is it's going to give me a risk graph based off of the strategy that I've chosen. So I've chosen this, again, this 180 March 22 call. I've chosen a long call strategy, and now I have this risk graph. So what it's telling me is, well, one, how much I could lose, how much I could gain, and what it's going to take for me to make any money on this. So right now, the underlying price, again, is 169.80, and that's highlighted right here. Okay. So my long call is a 180 long call right here. So that's the strike price that I've chosen for this particular option. And then here is my break-even point. Okay, so if I come up here, it's about 184. And then you can see once the price hits 184, I'm going to have an upside if the price continues to go up. So we can see here, if price goes to 193, then I would make $1,000. In my selection here, I'm just doing one contract, what my buy price is and what my strike price is. I can modify any of this. I could also just select different options if I wanted to, and it would change my risk graph based off of what I've chosen. But since my top ones are right here, let's just focus on this for just a moment. So as price goes up, if price goes up to 200, then I would be up to $1,500 in profit. Okay, so you can modify all this. If I were to say, oh, I'm going to do 5 contracts, click go, and then you can see that my profit and everything changes based off of how many contracts I'm doing. Okay, so in this video, we're not going to go through all of these different option strategies, but this is definitely built in and something that you can, if you just select any of the strategies, it'll tell you what. So let's just say I was doing a straddle. It will tell you what you need to put in. I need a call, I need a put, what you're buying. It'll ask you for the strike price. And again, you can just select whatever you want here, and it will give you that strategy. Now, obviously, I just randomly clicked. I wasn't saying that that's how you should select what you're doing for that particular strategy. But that's how easy it is to define these strategies. Just choose your strategies, pick the boxes, pick which options you want, and it will populate for you and give you this. If you don't like these colors down here, obviously you can change all these graph colors and background colors to whatever you want. You can also change the theme in here if you prefer that dark background or the dark with orange writing. So all that is customizable. So what we've done with Optionscope is, again, based off of what we're hearing from users. Hey, well, I want to be able to do some risk graphs and some risk analysis strategies in here. I also want to do some sentiment analysis. So all that now has been built in here as part of the default with Optionscope. Now, if I want to, I can just minimize this if you don't want it on the screen, or if you want to make it bigger. It's all drag and drop within Optionscope, so you can kind of play with it and do what you need to with it. All right. Okay, so we've got through all that. In Quote Center, we have added a gainers losers bar. Let's close Optionscope here, and let's go into Quote Center. We'll just load a list here. We'll just load my Quote Center demo list. And the gainers losers bar is just that, really. It's a count of how many stocks are up for the day, how many stocks are down for the day, or futures or Bitcoin or Forex, whatever it is you have in your list. So you can see here today, out of this 98, I had 11 up, 87 down. It's not a great day for the market. So it's a great way to look at your lists really quickly and see if your lists are bullish or bearish. If you have our portfolio defined in MetaStock, you can load it up in here and see what's going on with your list very quickly. If I change my theme up here, again, if I change this to dark orange, then in Optionscope, it will be dark orange as well. So those themes go back and forth between each other. The other thing we've done with Quote Center that's actually really cool that I like is if I go to chart here, I'm just going to move Quote Center off the screen for a moment. And if I set a template here inside of MetaStock, let's just say Bollinger Bands, and then I bring quote center back over. If I click on any securities in here, it will work with that template that I have selected inside of quote center. So it makes it, if you work a lot with templates and things, to kind of switch between templates, it's a good little shortcut to kind of get between templates and what you want to look at. Okay, so that's quote center. So some new systems. Let's talk about new systems inside of MetaStock. What we've done first is we added in the Performance Systems Plus. So what that is, inside MetaStock, we have 26 performance systems built in. And we've always sold this add-on, this Performance Systems Plus, which is actually our best-selling add-on of all time. And what we've done is we've included the 54 systems and strategies that are included with Performance Systems Plus inside of MetaStock now. So now you have a total of 80 systems that you can test with, you have experts for, you have explorations for, all available to you built into MetaStock. So this is normally $300, and it's now just included inside of MetaStock 18 for you. And this is a great add-on. It's a great addition to MetaStock. We're very excited to have been able to work this out to get this included inside of MetaStock for you. So these are a list of all the strategies inside of MetaStock 18 now, part of that Performance Systems Plus. This doesn't include the original 26. These are the additional 54. And I'm just going to show you some quick examples of what you can kind of do with some of these systems and strategies inside of MetaStock. But let me tell you about how they were designed first and how they kind of came about. So these were tested over 10,000 combinations of systems and stocks. So it actually had some very rigorous back testing that went with it. And it had to have some very specific criteria for it to make it into the Performance Systems Plus add-on. Okay, so first of all, they were tested over daily stock data with no trade delay, no stops included. So just saying, when I said buy, buy, when it said sell, sell. So that's how it was designed, okay? Low price, low volume stocks not included. Now, can you test these with low price, low volume stocks? Absolutely. Doesn't mean they're not going to work on low price, low volume stocks. It means that that's how they were initially tested. So you can now take these and put them against any list of stocks that you want to see how they perform. Deemed desirable if the trade efficiency was positive for more than 50% of all the stocks analyzed. So it had to have a very solid trade efficiency ratio as part of it as well. Taking all that together, what it did is it took thousands of systems, compiled them, tested them, put this criteria against them, and said, okay, well, these are the best of all these systems, the best, kind of the best of the best. And that's what Performance Systems Plus came from. So now what we can do, let's actually go into MetaStock again. Let's close some of this. And let's go in and let's actually take a system test approach to these. Again, you could actually go into the Explorer and you could find the PS systems. And you can, let me close out my search there. And you can see all the performance scans in here. So if you have a preferred Performance Systems Plus scan, it's now just going to be built in there, and you can work with them. Okay, they're open, so you can go in and you can look at the code. You can change the code if you want to, but you can see how they are built and the way that they work. But let's go in and let's take a system test approach to this. So let's just put in PS here. And if I select PS and put select all, you'll see it'll select all my performance systems. So I've got all my performance systems selected. So it's an easy way to just go through and scan. But what I want to do is I want to take all 80 of these strategies and put them against one stock just to see how they perform. Now we're not going to spend a lot of time on system testing and how to do system testing here. Again, there's lots of great videos, but this is a way to take all of these strategies. Let's just put them against Tesla, something most people trade, most people are aware of. So let's choose Tesla, and I can tell it long, trade, short, both. Okay, so I already have all my system parameters in here. So let's go ahead and start my system test. Now, as I run this test, you can see that it's running through all 81 of those. I think I had something else that had PS in it as well. and it's done with our test. So now what I've done is I've taken all 81 of those strategies, bounce around here a little bit, and put them against Tesla. So now what I can do is I can look and see of those systems, which one performed the best. Now I'm putting the personality of all these strategies against Tesla to see what performs best. And you can see here the PS Arun reversal system was the best trading one over time. It had a 218% profit. I tested over about 3 years of data. It had 7 trades, 5 were winners, 2 were losers, and my average profit loss was about 21. Okay, so pretty solid there. And then I can go in and I can look at my equity line and see how it's performed over time. Okay, and I could do this, of course, with, sorry, let me move this over here. Any of these systems. So if I want to see the next equity line down, I can see that and go through each one individually. But let's just say I'm interested in the PS Arun reversal. So now what I can do is I can come back here to, let's go back here to chart. And let's open up my chart. And we'll go to my expert advisor. And now all 80 of these experts are also built into MetaStock. And let's scroll down and let's find the PS Arun reversal. Okay, and then go ahead and put attach. And now I have the PS Arun reversal system attached to my chart. And then I can go through, I could use the expert commentary, and I can follow that trade through. Now, one thing is with what I just did, I didn't look for a current signal. I just tested to see if what system was actually best on it. Now, of course, I could scan against a specific strategy and then test that list. I could also test all of these strategies against all the stocks on the NASDAQ to see which strategy works best across the NASDAQ, and then look at the best ones. So there's a lot that you can do here. And what I recommend you do is watch some of our multiple system testing videos to show you how exactly that you can back test multiple systems against multiple securities at the same time. And you really leverage what you can do with the Performance Systems Plus. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the Performance Systems Plus. Again, this is a great add-on, best-selling add-on of all time, because it has a lot of good, solid systems and strategies included with it. So something to keep in mind as you're getting started with the new MetaStock 18. When you get it, these are a lot of the new systems that are included in there. The Guppy ATR. So what this is, Gerald Guppy is a great market mentor out there. If you're not familiar with Gerald Guppy, he does a lot of market commentary, a lot of market research, understands the depths of the market. And one of the things that he preaches that we should all follow is setting effective stops. So what he did is he came to us and said, hey, my friends at MetaStock, what I'd like to do is take my work of these stop ATRs that I have in my book, Stock and Forex Trading, and I'd like you to include it inside MetaStock because a lot of my traders find them very useful in managing when they should be getting in, when they should be getting out of a trade. And that's a big thing that a lot of us don't have the best way of managing our stops. Sorry, I'll put it that way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to use these ATR stops and put them on a chart. So again, it's based off of his book, Stocks and Forex Trading. We'll talk about the way that they move here in just a minute when we get to the chart, but it provides a confirmation of trend break and stop loss points. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to plot a stop line on our chart for us. And when that's penetrated, it's time to get out. But it will ratchet and move with the stock as it goes. So that way it's an adaptive stop as well. So let's go ahead and go back into MetaStock. And let's find, first of all, let's just say, let's pull something up here with some more buy and sell signals. Let's just put the MACD on here for just a moment, just so we can get a, okay, so we have a lot more movement here. And let's just look at this example right here. So we're going to say 8/30/2021 is our date. And I'll show you why that's important here. So we're going to scroll down and look for the GT, which are the Guppy traders. Okay, so we have traders long and traders short. So again, we're looking at our date here. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over. And we're going to go from actually we put our date, so 21st, 8th month, 2021. So 8/21/21. That was our entry date. And then we have our periods of ATR, our multiplier, and if we want to calculate on the low or the close. Now, he teaches to go off of the close, so that's what we're going to go off here, but you could also change it to the low if you want. Okay, we'll merge with our scale on the right. And it looks like I got my date wrong. Let's 8/30/2021. So again, I could just double click on the indicator. Let's go to 8/30. Okay. So you see my line starts here when I have my entry signal. And let's just scroll back here a little bit and zoom in so you can see it a little more closely here. So this is my entry date, and it sets me a stop based off of my entry date. And this is using ATR as part of its calculation. So I have my MACD entry signal. I set my stop, and you can see my stop will move up and continue to move up until my line is penetrated. Once the line is penetrated, that means I've stopped out and that trade is no longer valid. So once this has hit this stop, that's what I'm going to get out. And then this is no longer valid because it's not ratcheting and moving anymore. Let's go to this example. Let's go to 10/12/2021. Go OK. Now you can see this one exists for a much longer period of time because it never hits the stop. It continues to ratchet up as we move. So I have my signal. We move up. We continue to move up, continue to move up. And then here, that line is penetrated. And so now I'm exited out and it will no longer move because it is now invalidated. You're not trading in it anymore, so it's not going to continue to move with the stock anymore. Alternatively, there's also a short version of this, just to show you the opposite here. So let's go with 8/16/2021, just to show you that example. Okay, so 16/8/2021. I'll just go on the right. And then you can see here, so we got into the trade, it's going along, and then here it penetrates, it stops us out, and then that trade we are now exited and it's invalidated, so it no longer continue to update. So if you're looking for something to help you in your trading with stops, with these different, with managing your trades and your risk, the Guppy's Trader ATR is a great indicator because it can help you just, when am I getting in? Well, you're getting in based off of your strategy, and then you're using this as a stop exit protection. And it's based off of the long research work of Gerald Guppy and widely used by a lot of traders. So fantastic addition to MetaStock, and we thank Gerald Guppy for giving us the ability to put that into MetaStock as well. Okay, so we have talked a lot about MetaStock 18. MetaStock 18 is a huge improvement in everything that you can do inside MetaStock. We've talked about the new chart, all of its abilities and customizations that you can now do, the new charting styles. So great enhancements there. We've added in the new Optionscope features for sentiment and risk strategy. We've put in those new user functions for navigating around the Power Console, new systems and strategies with Performance Systems Plus and the Guppy ATR. So all around, MetaStock 18 is a huge upgrade. What I'd encourage you to do is go ahead and contact MetaStock Sales at metastock.com, the 801-506-0900, 800-882-3040, or metastock.com/sales-chat. And you can talk to us with any of these ways about MetaStock 18, how it can help you in your trading. And With that, I wish you successful trading, and thanks for taking the time to watch today.